Hey and welcome to this episode of Co-Creating with AI. I'm Martin, and with me, as always, is Rasmus. How are you today, Rasmus?
I'm good. Pretty busy times last few weeks since we spoke last. And you've been away, right?
Yes, I was on a trip to the Bay Area, visiting Silicon Valley, the mothership of AI and everything startup, and that was amazing. It was really good reconnecting to the people and the industry there, and also just spending time in the city and outside as well. We went down to Big Sur, looking at the coast, and then up to Napa, having some wine testing and so on. So it was a really good mix of business and leisure.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't been there for a while now. I used to spend a bit of time there when I was younger, when my grandfather lived there. But I'm looking forward to go back soon.
Yeah, and we were on a voice and multimodal hackathon, which we just randomly saw in the calendar the day before. So we sort of we put together a team of other random people and made an effort to participate in a Saturday hackathon. And then there was an AI conference organized by AI Accelerate Institute in San Jose the other week.
I mean, that's the thing with that part of the world, right? Like, I bet there were like three other hackathons happening at the same time for
Yes.
different like AI
Yeah.
modalities or different
Yeah,
niches.
there was one at the same time. There were actually two hackathons, which I was too late to book to. One agent hackathon and another with like multi-hour workshop with Neo4j about using their graph engine for GraphDB for AI. And I found this awesome event website called Loom or Luma, where uh, you like there's multiple, like a dozen events a week in AI in the Bay Area, so you can always find distractions if you don't have enough work already.
You can do hackathons every day.
Yeah, basically.
Fair. So what do you want to talk about
Yeah,
today?
so since I'm out of the loop with Multiply these days when I work fully on Canship, I really want to know what's going on with you. I was, since I was away the past week, we haven't reconnected for the pod event. So I would love to hear what's up with Multiply, how are you doing with like all the things you're learning from customer development and so on.
Okay. Um, I think the most fun thing is kind of that we found our, I don't even want to share niche, but like our like value prop very clearly in terms of like helping agencies streamline their full creative process, not only like content production where like most, I guess, AI kind of marketing startups are,
Mm-hmm.
but like from, getting like, say, your comms agency, like one of our larger clients. You get a client brief, you get shitloads of material. You
Mm-hmm.
need to take that through a process to understand what the client wants in both, general and in detail, and then take that all the way to kind of getting an internal brief together, doing the research, uh, doing the interactions with the client, and then elaborating on strategy and kind of creative concepts to actually um, like exploring that to
Mm-hmm.
to achieve the goals for the client, and then that takes the shape of, say, let's call it content, or most called activation of different assets
Yeah.
in the end of it. But that really feels like, being able to offer that as like holistically is where people get like excited. It's like, okay, we can actually start implementing AI in the way we work in
Mm-hmm.
like an organized manner. Not only everyone's like, someone's using Perplexity, someone's using ChatGPT, someone's using Midjourney, and then you need to be like, um, instead of just bringing it all in together in like kind of one interface and working as like a team in a process. That's sort of been like the main thing, that we're really finding that we're starting to deliver well on, especially in like the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
like the kind of planning, insights, and strategy, and at the end of the activation and content production. There we're kind of like getting really, really good case studies of like how much time they save and how much more time they have to kind of explore more creative angles.
Yeah.
That's been actually really cool. Those case studies, like getting
Yeah.
that data in has been most fun.
So if I'm summing what I'm hearing, that you started out with using sort of Gen AI for content marketing and activations in that in the production end of things, and then working with more and more agencies, you've expanded that to cover the entire value chain of an agency.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually so up until I'd say Christmas almost, we were focusing what was easiest, which was helping, for us at least, easiest, helping in-house marketing teams and different types of content agencies and comms agencies and brand agencies who need to produce different types of content for themselves, for clients, and just getting those templates set up to be able to do that efficiently with high quality and like in the right brand voice, etc. And we saw that had value for some in-house marketing teams, or for a lot of them, and then for some agencies. But then when we pitched like these bigger, more like creativity focused, like comms agencies, we were like, they were sort of like, oh, this is cool, but we didn't really get like excited. And what we realized later was actually when we brought Magnus on board, is like like a very experienced business director who's been at all the big agencies. It's like, you guys need to like expand this to think holistically through the process. This is like not the core business for us at these big comms agencies. The core business is kind of being able to quickly and efficiently and kind of serve clients with high creative quality. That's the thing, not like producing 100 blog posts or producing, even if they're great blog posts in their own brand or whatever, like the key thing is here. So then we really, and that seems to be true for kind of CMO offices as well, at both mid-sized and really big like clients. Some of we're working with, where they get a shitload of research. They get so much research every month, every quarter, every year, and their strategy processes, and generally it takes all their time to just try to stay on top of it and then synthesize it and utilize it to like be creative or be strategic is really tough. So there we've really found kind of a new, basically like a focus for us.
Yeah. So that sounds really amazing to be able to use the same, I guess, then technology and platform throughout the entire value chain. So you built something. We built something that was very general, but we applied it to a very narrow niche at first. But then, now it's expanding more and more. So the same technology is being leveraged in more and more use cases.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of like, not that much has changed since you were like fully in the weeds on this in terms of like the basics of multiply. It was really just like taking different types of AI models, putting them in like a nice interface for like a team to work in it, and then follow a process. So you're like, okay, we have everything from like the example I gave before, but also operational stuff like creating statements of work, or they need to create like contact reports often for clients in terms of like a paper trail throughout the project of the work they've done, etc. There's so many different things here, but they all have the same thing in common. It's like you have some sort of template that you want to achieve. You have some process you want to work through, and there AI can usually at least do part of the process. And that's where we found our sweet spot, is like being able to set up those like processes, those structures, and then having AI do things for you, but then you being able to like iterate together with AI and rewrite and find it until you're happy, and then you take the next step of the process. And that applies to like admin, but it also applies to kind of research, and it applies actually, interestingly enough, even to like exploring different creative angles. So it's that core of kind of multiply, that flexibility, that sort of, I mean, that sort of works throughout, it seems.
So would you be able to take that, those general terms and give an example that is really like down to the concrete level?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I gave a couple there, but let's say one very simple thing is like you have a legal contract to get in from a client, and then you have your standard MSA, which like master services agreement, that you want them to sign, but they're never going to sign. So then you're like, okay, how do these compare? And then we have a very simple template. We just upload this client contract, and you get all the differences out. And then in the same workspace, maybe you have, okay, so now we have that done. Okay. And then we have the internal brief from the team and the preliminary kind of parts of the process. And then you like need to create a statement of work, like that, where you have a template document that you want to fill out. And then all of a sudden it's just clicking a button and you get like a suggestion for a statement of work, which is going to be, legally binding, of course. That's like a boring example. A more fun example, I would say, that is one of the ones where we're getting like a lot of positive feedback, is when you're actually at the stage where you have kind of solidified, okay, in an internal brief, all the important things like the client is looking to achieve this year, usually, in terms of like both what to communicate, who to communicate to, what the objectives are, what markets, what timelines, budgets, etc., etc. And then distilling that into creative brief, like, what is the business challenge? What are the behaviors of the target group? And what are the behaviors we want to change or like affect to achieve the business outcome? And then just seeing people just generate like tens of different strategic ideas for this based on all this data with like one click, you know how it works. It's like click, link, click, 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 try again. Okay. And then like, I like this one. Here we have something. And then they start writing. And then they start writing on it. And what it ends up as is not what the AI said, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not, but it had something it was inspired by, or they built on it, or they combined it, or just, just made them think of something. But like that really, really speeds up the creative process. However, I'd say that's where our like product is really good in practice, but the experience, like we noticed this with like, that the people get really excited about Multiply currently, like heads of strategy, business directors, etc. And then the creatives get excited, but they like, we still need to have a bunch of work to do on the UI side to like really like be the preferred, I think, like be as appreciated by, creative directors and art directors, etc., as we are by the more business and strategic people.
But what you're describing is just like, for me, it sounds like the essence of doing co-creative AI instead of generative AI, so to speak. Like it's the end result is something that is co-created by human and AI. It's not pushing a button and seeing the end result. Like the value is really by bringing the AI and the human in a co-creative loop.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the main pitch. We usually show this little this brand video we have in the beginning of meetings, and the whole point there is like we can create more together with AI. And it's like these small things in the product that actually we weren't really appreciating fully until we put it in the hands of people, which is like this simple thing that in ChatGPT you write something, you get something back, you can't edit it, right? Just that simple thing. In Multiply, you generate this suggestion for like a communication strategy or a brand persona or whatever. And then you can just go in and edit it. So if there is something in there you like, you don't need to copy paste it somewhere else. You don't need to ask the AI to rewrite it. You just start editing straight away. And that thing in combination with being able to have like a clear process really helps, for multiple people to be able to do that together. Because there you have your templates, like just like you have document templates in an organization, and they're linked together in a process. So it's like you do this, and then you get to this point, and you follow that template, and then go to the next step, and then you're trying to achieve something else. Those things were like we really underappreciated in comparison to like the positive feedback we got on those.
Awesome. And then I guess just based on my understanding of the super dynamic nature of Multiply, as soon as you're onboarding one customer, as soon as they want to tweak something in the existing workflows, there's no limit to how much you can adapt and make it perfect for that new customer.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is, and why we're working so closely with our customers is like there's no one communication agency process.
No.
Like if someone jumps between agencies, they could say, there's similarities. We sort of do the same thing. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's the same craft. But the actual like process they've documented, the way they think about problem solving, the way, they run workshops, the templates they have, they're completely different. So what we do, and what we've really started doing more, is like having clear pilots with our customers, where we really spend, like, one of our AI business developers spend time with them to just like help them get a really good starting point where Multiply mirrors their process. And through that, they become comfortable starting to do it themselves and iterate themselves and build their own templates and build their own workflows. But we really we kickstarted that way now. And I mean, that takes more time from our side. We really see it's worth it, because it's really actually hard to tell someone, you could use this for pretty much anything. Then they're like, so what I use it for? We need to prove, like, in the first month that they can use it for like 3-4 different things. And then they get that they can do that, because otherwise all, like, sales, like it sounds like, yeah, sure, it's a product that you can use for all these things, but we need to prove it. So that's what we do, like, during the first month of the pilot.
Yeah, I remember when like 3 years ago, when AI LLMs started to appear with like the first Da Vinci model, GPT-3, etc. When I was showing people AI, when I sort of brainstormed some demo, prompting the AI to generate something, they were sort of they liked it, but they were not so very impressed. But when I asked them to input some part of the prompt, then they were super impressed by the output, because it was just a realization that it's not a canned demo. It's not Martin that has some clue about what to write, so the output is good. When I take the risk and ask them to be part of creating process, it sort of clicks for them that this is for anything. I could have said anything and still had the same output. And I guess this just takes that principle and like 3 magnitudes bigger, with like building entire workflows for agencies, that it really clicks much more faster when there's a suggestion from the agency of what workflow to implement, rather than to look at 3 existing examples.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually really, I haven't thought about it that way. And I think we're really going to bring that with me, because what we're trying to do now is like, as quickly as possible, get to the point where we're not showing something prepackaged. We have a bunch of like standard workflows that do really cool stuff. But when they get that, like, okay, wow, but I just said this and you just built it in like 5 minutes in front of me, built this workflow. It's like, it's like, it's like in an Excel sheet almost. It's like, you just, and then you have something that works. You write some formulas basically, but in this case, in the form of prompts. So yeah, I mean, that's really where we get the wow. It's like, it really did what I wanted it to do. And that's the cool thing with, like, I mean, not to go too technical, but you know this stuff, but for the listener, with few shot, learning or prompting, in the sense that in the prompt, if you give examples of what you want, if, for example, in the prompt, we refer to this template that we've this document, this PDF that we've uploaded, that it looks a certain way, then the AI is going to make the output that it gives you look that way and fill it in with all the data you've given it. And that thing is people don't expect, really, I'd say.
No. And I can't help it, but it just made me so curious when you talked about extending the UI in Multiply to adapt more to the needs of CDs and ADs. Like, do you have an example of that or ideas of that you could describe? It's just like so close to my own passion to think about those things.
I mean, what comes from, and I'll tell this comes from, I mean, we've discussed it previously as well, but comes very strongly from Magnus as well, is like a creative canvas. So if you look at what we have in Multiply, we have all these different templates and blocks that you can just that are basically prepackaged instructions to the AI, let's call it. Flexible instructions, but instructions that you just pull out and you just use. You don't have to write them, and they work, and you put the files there and you put the web pages there, and then it gives you whatever you want, competitor analysis or an executive summary or whatever, or you generate these images. But then like the way Multiply looks now is still like, it looks a bit like a combination of, we have a form or like documents, and then we have tables if you want to, work with large amounts of data. But as a creative, what you would want to do is like, that idea that I generated, rewrote that. Okay, I put it there. I link it to this. I generate a picture from that. Okay, here. And then being able to look at that as like an actual mood board. And that's the way a lot of creatives use, say, Midjourney at least. It's like, generate a picture. You're not going to use it in the final kind of client material, but you put it in your mood board. And then it's real there. And those mood boards are often like some type of canvas. So we believe that, after this document and the table, like the next one will probably be a canvas of some sort.
Like a whiteboard where you can place things. Yeah. Yeah, because then you just open up to any kind of mind maps and process visualizations and anything. So that would be amazing to see, just together with the co-creative aspect, where the AI probably adds or generates some elements, and then the human adds some, and you just get to the end result much faster.
Yeah, I mean that's our sense right now, but we are of course going to do a bunch of involve our like our customers with in really defining that. But that's our gut feel right now from the feedback we've gotten.
Do you get a lot of pressure to build more integrations to existing systems?
Yeah, I mean, so we get it from two different angles. So one is on like AI capabilities. And there, the two primary ones that we're looking at in the near term is, we're going to see if it is Perplexity, but let's use Perplexity as an example. They have an API now, which basically is in a workflow, have the AI do research. So you put in your client brief and your research material, and then the workflow basically specifies that, hey, go out and find other relevant things to this. Or you can, of course, ask a question directly. And then that's, pulled into the workflow, into the, market summary, into the competitor analysis, into the, key drivers and behaviors of the target group, whatever you're analyzing. And also code interpreters, so you can actually put up raw data files and have it give you insights. And then on the integration side, there's a lot to do with like, your normal systems, so that any file, especially any file or any email you have access to, you could call upon as, a document directly inside Multiply. So that you're just like, basically you can, just like in say, if you use Google Drive or if you use Office 3, like OneDrive, then you just like type, and then, whatever there comes in. And next step with that is, of course, embedding all that data so that it can be used without you asking specifically for it. But we're getting some requests for that, and that's probably going to be something for end of summer or fall to start looking at that properly.
And what about internal systems, or rather, you mentioned there are two aspects. One, you said AI skills or capabilities. Was there another direction for integrations?
Yes, that's that I would always say is internal systems, or any kind of systems where you have data. And for say that we have those general ones, right? But there are also a lot of specific ones. So, for example, for communication agencies, they use market research tools like Quid or Meltwater or Statista, etc. So there's a bunch of data sources there that you can integrate, and then feed that data instead of downloading a PDF from Quid and uploading it into Multiply. It's just fed in as part of your process. But it's been nice. Like, people are pretty like happy to do the extra couple of clicks so far to download, upload, etc. Given the value it provides. But we're definitely going to get there.
Awesome. And so, what is the focus right now, like this week?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, right now we're really like down and kind of in the weeds with our customers. So apart from like demoing and doing proof of concepts for new customers, which are a few really like ones that I'm really excited about, it's all about like current customers and current pilots, where it's making sure that we still keep on track. Like our AI biz devs are really, delivering really high quality workflows, and that we learn, that we really learn to these topics that we talked about, so that our product priorities are right. That's like, those are like our two main focuses. It's like onboarding new customers and making sure they get really good service, and making sure we have the right product priorities, given their feedback.
To me, that sounds incredibly healthy, actually, for the company to have that focus, like just be as close as possible to the customer.
Yeah, I feel that's where we need to be now. We've done a lot of like work on the technical side. We have like good security. We have good, we had 100% uptime last 90 days. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Given like what it looked like, when we were a younger company, like a year ago. So that's really nice. And we've actually, apart from that, something that sort of didn't surprise us, I wouldn't say, because we've been well prepared, is how many companies are like afraid of the security issues around AI. So luckily enough, we've had a good approach to that from the beginning. So we're in the process for like an ISO certification, and gotten pretty far. But still, like being able to prove that easily to customers, been like work actually over the last few weeks, just putting together that package, because there are all sorts of, we could talk about that in another episode, but there are really a lot of fear around putting your private, like your company data, into, having it escape out into the wild through the use of AI models, which of course it doesn't through us, with kind of the setup we have, but still something we not only need to be able to say, but to like properly communicate in a way that they feel like not a shred of doubt.
Yeah.
So we worked a lot on that actually, and still have a little bit more work to do to make that material like 100%.
And it just like elevates the value of Multiply when you can streamline everybody's work in the same AI tool and make that secure, instead of having everybody's creative work just float out over hundreds of random AI services all over the web, where you definitely have no control over your data.
Yeah, that's actually come up as like main pitch. It's like slide 6 or something in our presentation nowadays, just because it's so important, understandably, but I'd say more so than I expected.
So just if we just imagine like there's a new lead coming in tomorrow, which is just perfect for Multiply to be a supplier for, like what kind of company would that be, or is that one category or three categories? Could you describe like who would that be?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's pretty clear, I'd say. So I'd say the main one is bigger communication agencies with office, at least 50 people upwards, and some of them are the kind of global networks, right? So there are many such agencies, is one way to look at them, owned to the networks. So that's like category 1, I'd say, for us, and category 2 is CMO offices at mid-sized to bigger companies. So, from a couple hundred people to, huge in this case. And that's also because our strengths go well with what their pain points are for both those categories, in terms of they have a lot of different data sources, they have a lot of different processes, they are pressed for time, and they need to be both strategic and creative. And have that kind of process streamlined. So they really have, like, in one sense, a creative process that doesn't scale, and Multiply uses AI then in our way to help them have a creative process that scales across their team. And then the third one, which is not as proven, but we have some initial traction, is e-commerce, where they have, for example, they have like one that has said yes now, but we haven't onboarded yet. Is Swedish e-commerce company, pretty big one. They launch maybe 200 to 300 products a year, and then they need to create a lot of specific content around all of those products, both for their website, for their social media, and they want it to be like exactly in one certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, what it really ends up in being a lot of different templates with very long specific prompts with very specific examples, given to the AI.
Mm.
And then they can upload basically Excel files with, say 100 products and columns with all the data about them, and just upload it, press generate, and then they get it all, done for all of them at once.
Awesome.
So that's kind of, I'd say, the three categories. And then we have a fourth one, which I'm not going to talk so much about now, but like that maybe we can talk about in the future, that we're proving out.
Awesome. I think that's going to be a wrap. Do you have any, because we're coming up on the half hour for this episode, do you have any closing thoughts? On my end, I felt this has been just a great update on what Multiply is up to.
No, it's been fun. It's always nice to just be able to do the full rant about what we're up to and how I'm thinking about things. No, I mean, I think the one thing that we haven't chatted about, which we chat about a little bit pre-recording, is I really feel there's a brand and a community that we're starting to build, and a story that we're telling and that we believe in and that we're building for, which is just this basic story of, hey, we all like to create things and we can create much more together. And now we can create even more together by, working not only with each other, but with AI. And that just simple, basic story that really kind of, I think that's a narrative that we're hoping to see grow and help grow, because I think that alleviates a lot of the fears around it, and it makes it more exciting, and it's true. And it's both good for like individuals, because they're like being AI forward is really going to be an edge, and for teams and companies, because being AI forward is really going to be an edge. So I hope to kind of continue working on spreading that story.
Awesome. So just to sum what I heard, you are building a community of people that believe in that way of working. So is that up and run? Is that live? Like, how do I engage in that community if I want to?
Yeah, it is live. We're still under like invite and password protection, but it's at creatives.ai, creatives with CREATIVS, so without the E at the end, .ai. And we're going to open that up and talk more about it going forward. But that's going to be like a learning community for people who are believe in the story and are excited about becoming better at working with AI.
Very cool. Thanks, cool. Rasmus.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
thanks to the listener for being with us all the way. And this has been an episode of Co-Creating with AI. And see you next time.
See you, Martin.